You have great tits.
Yeah. Own your tits.
Own your tits.
Yeah.
This podcast contains topics and language that people may find offensive or triggering and may not be appropriate for younger listeners. We are not medical professionals and any advice should be taken on face value. Please consult your doctor if you have any issues, and please let it be known that all sexual activity should be context appropriate, consent appropriate, age appropriate and species appropriate. Anything else is fair game. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. It's me there. Welcome back to the Place of Perspective. I want to talk about tits.
Tits. Right, let's talk about tits. What about tits?
So,
Tits and ass.
Yes. One of my favourite subjects. So, I got a message the other day from a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually told you this story already, but for the listeners, who I hadn't seen in months and months.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a bit out of the blue.
Mm.
I thought she'd just kind of gone off the radar, not interested, whatever.
Mm.
And so in the message, it said basically, hello, I haven't seen you for ages. It's catching up.
Yeah.
And I was like, hello, how have you been? Normal stuff.
Yeah.
And she said it, and so I'm just going to read it out because it's easier. So in the reply, she said, well, been busy. Managed to fit in a boot job last Monday. So currently recovering.
Right, okay.
Basically.
Okay.
And I was like, why would you tell me that?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe
she's trying to let you know that this is why I've not been on radar.
Yeah, but I wonder whether she might have been. I'm just going to my phone.
Is she advertising for boobs too? I got the boobs.
Well, yeah.
Something for you to play with.
Yeah, well, kind of. But it also made me wonder if I'd somehow made her feel inadequate about them beforehand. I mean, I wouldn't have ever said anything because they were perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But obviously she's been... I wondered whether the reason why she hadn't messaged me again is because she was feeling slightly insecure about herself generally. And therefore, now that she's got this done, she's feeling more confident. More, wanting to have a...
Back in the game.
Get back in the game. Yeah. So and at some point we haven't met up yet. Well, I did see her the other day, but we haven't actually gone out and had sex or done anything. But I was kind of just maybe think about why someone would get something like that done.
It could be from previous relationships. Someone actually saying to her, like,
things
much.
Yeah.
And like that can really like lower someone's self-esteem. And then after a while, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to feel more confident and sexy if we have tits. Women are very much put on show like that, aren't they? And especially with social media as well. Yeah. It's, we've got to look at a certain type, it's the pressures of society there, I think, a little bit. That really does...
But it made me think sort of generally about sort of augmentation and changing the way you look in order to be more sexually appealing.
Yeah.
And I was sort of thinking, oh, well, these people must be sort of slightly depressed or have something wrong or whatever. And then suddenly realised that I'm totally covered in tattoos. And I also, I have had IPL surgery recently because I get rosacea, so my face gets really red.
Yeah. Going to the dentist as well, wanting white teeth, as well. That's because that's the first thing you see is someone smile.
Yeah.
So there's that. So it's like, at what point is it? So
obviously something that's sort of frowned upon by a lot of people, but then at sort of tattoos and things like that. So so I kind of wanted to talk about the pros and cons of it all, really.
Because on the NHS, you used to be able to get a boob job because of mental health. And I met someone who had got a boob job because she had no confidence. So it was literally for mental health, lack of confidence. She had it done, and then 6 months later, she had them removed because it gave her really severe back problems.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, big waste of money that was, and time and pain, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I don't think it's a bad thing that someone does it, and for whatever reasons they're doing it for. It's just not something I want to do. I think we should embrace our natural. That's what I mean. Even your curves, your bit of fat, it's part of you, you know. Like we should be comfortable in that. But unfortunately, there are people out there who really do care about how someone looks, and will comment on it because they think they've got the right to, and no one does really have the right to in some negative way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I noticed, and I guess in the last couple of weeks since the first message, it's made me sort of really kind of notice who's doing what. So I know another lady who's just had a nose job, so it's kind of her nose slightly wider at the top, and now it's kind of slightly narrower. And actually, I hadn't even noticed. It was only through a Facebook comment from someone else that I was just kind of like,
it was like really subtle.
Yeah. And I think that subtlety is probably an interesting thing to talk about, because I think when someone has absolutely gigantic breasts and they're like hard, and you can see they're so big that you can sort of see the scars underneath without them even moving around, and I tend to find that not very attractive.
I had a friend who had huge tits, and she had to have them reduced because it was that painful. She couldn't run, lying in bed, breathing, you know. It was actually quite painful for her, so she had them reduced. She said it was really painful as well, in the procedure.
Okay.
Really painful. It took her a while to recover from that. So I think she's in like her late 20s when she got it done as well. So she was still quite young, but yeah, it took her a long time to heal from that.
Yeah, and then funnily enough, something came up on I was watching a YouTuber, Jesse James West, many millions of followers. His girlfriend had a boob job. On her channel, she had like her rundown of the process and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and that was quite interesting because she's a fitness model, and her breasts were a B cup.
Right.
She just went up to a C cup.
Yeah.
Maybe a D. And I was like, I really have no idea why you're doing it.
Yeah.
It sort of just didn't make any sense.
So
But the way that she explained it was just like, you know, as soon as she hit puberty, you know, as soon as she got her first period, she's like, right, now where's my breasts? And she just thought she was going to get them, and then they didn't come, and it was like, always felt like she'd been sort of shortchanged.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a complete woman, perhaps.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I think it's because I've got big breasts. She always wants me to have got. I love women that have really small breasts and they don't wear a bra. I find that really sexy for some reason, you know, and quite liberating, you know, because I have to wear a bra.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it hurts, you know. So yeah.
Actually, there's a friend of ours who has quite large breasts and still doesn't wear a bra.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I feel like running around and stuff.
I think she likes that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. And actually, we've slept together, and they're great in real life. But then, I think, and I've talked about this on a few occasions, I guess, like previous episodes and stuff, about, you know, what I find attractive in a woman. And large breasts just aren't even on the list.
Right, okay.
Like it's not like, oh yeah, well she has to have a tiny bum and huge tits and you know, and like the the aesthetics of someone really are really quite far down the list.
Yeah.
In terms of whether I actually want to have sex with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to actually being naked in bed with somebody, it makes no difference.
So you're not shallow, basically, is what you're saying. You know what I mean? You actually you talk to somebody, you get on really well. There's a connection there, and that's what that's where the attractiveness comes from, and that's when you want. I could see myself having sex with you because you're just a wonderful human being. Besides how they look, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I would say that I'm fairly shallow in that. I don't know. It's a difficult thing to quantify, really. Because as I think I said before, like what I would have sex with for a one night stand, or every so often, is very different to someone who I would enter in a relationship with.
Yeah.
And therefore, the sort of outgoing, fitnessy kind of out climbing, paddleboarding, cycling, walking miles, and doing, week-long treks through the Pennines or East Devon Coast Path or whatever. Like, just suits a particular body type.
Yeah.
And so that I would, in terms of relationship wise, I would generally go for that.
Yeah, someone who's like physically fit, basically, which means they're not going to be obese.
Yeah. But if someone kept up and liked doing all those things but were obese, it wouldn't make any difference to me.
You walk so fast, I can't keep up with him. You walk so fast, I'm like, slow down. I'm just going to stroll on by.
Yeah. So I think, So it's kind of a slightly different thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so there's another person who she only lives in this country throughout the summer.
Okay.
She lives in Brazil, actually, in the winter.
Okay.
Brazil in summer, I guess.
Yeah. Chasing the sun. Right.
Amazing lifestyle.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd love to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Theoretically, I probably could, working from home.
Yeah.
But she's had work done. I can go out on a limb and say she's definitely had breast implants. I think she's had a butt lift as well.
Right. Okay.
And probably some lip filler, bits and pieces. And I really like her because of her personality. Like, those things haven't changed my opinion of her at all.
Right. Okay.
Although it was quite funny. She does listen to this, so we have to be careful.
You have to be careful.
we were out in our local bar
at
one point, and she wasn't wearing a bra, but she'd obviously had sort of nipple covers.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
the best bit. Having the nipples showing, actually. I find that really sexy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, this is it. And so at one point she just went, "Oh, these are getting a bit uncomfortable," and took them out, and I was like, "That's fucking way better." I don't think I said anything at the time. But I was just like,
yeah. Amazing. But yeah, it's like, I mean, because so many people have the lip Botox, all that sort of, that's really common, but that's like girls in their 20s, early 20s, who don't even have a wrinkle, and they're getting Botox. That I find a bit worrying. It's the same as the people who go to the gym and they work out and they're on steroids and they just take it that step too far, like, it's like, you don't take steroids.
No, I don't.
It's definitely, that comes with, I think, a little bit of mental health issues there.
I guess the other thing,
that's social media doing that as well.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing with that is it's a bit weird, because if you have sex with someone and then you have a child, your child's not going to look like that.
Yeah.
So effectively, what you're using to attract someone actually won't get passed on genetically.
Right. Okay.
So I find that aspect.
Well,
no, because it's it's true. If someone's unnatural and you have a child together, your child isn't going to look like that.
Yeah.
You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger's children don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Because they're not on loads of steroids.
Yeah.
You know.
It's weird having a baby coming out looking
It's like a hench baby.
Popeye.
Or with gigantic breasts.
Yeah. Really weird. Got a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not advantageous to sort of evolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely not. It's for personal reasons, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely for self-confidence, without doubt.
Mm.
You know, but it's like, what's made them not feel confident in order to have to go through that amount of money you've got to spend, the healing process of it all as well. You know.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, oh, when I get older, you know, the tits are going to sag. It'd be nice to get them packed up a bit when I'm older, kind of thing.
Mm.
It's not something that I'm going to go massively out my way to do though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, and this is why it's interesting to have your perspective on it, because obviously I don't have breasts. Well, I do, but gigantic pecs.
Yeah.
Because I just don't get it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get why you would want to do something like that.
Yeah.
Over and above trying to reach your genetic potential naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So
I suppose maybe it's also the lazy way out then, do you know what I mean?
Well, it does feel a little bit like that too. But only for certain people.
Yeah, this is not very, totally.
So
I think it runs deeper, whether it's to do with parents saying you're not good enough, or, you know, or an ex-partner, as a woman, from my point of view. That's why I feel somebody would want to get breasts enlarged, you know, because they've been told they're not worthy in some way.
Yeah.
And that's just knocked their self-esteem and their confidence, so that would make them go, okay, I want to, you know, which hence why it was on the NHS for a while. You know, which I thought was absolutely crazy.
It is a bit crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not anymore though, but it used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think it runs a little bit deeper with mental health, handsomely. Not for everyone. Some people are just absolutely shallow and just want nice big tits because they care about looking really pretty.
Yeah.
And, you know, they want to be a Barbie doll, basically, you know.
Yeah.
Which is...
Actually, we've got another friend like that, don't we? So, who absolutely really wants to look like, you know, her idol was Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
Always wanted to look like Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, she's definitely got that look. Yeah.
And she's definitely got that look now.
Yeah, totally.
And
she rocks it.
Yeah.
She does rock it.
And she's a super lovely human being.
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
so,
she is.
So it's obviously not affected her mentally by having that stuff done.
Yeah.
She also copes very well with the attention.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously gone very big.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's also, you know, she obviously works out a lot.
Yeah.
She's got a tiny waist and, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But therefore, yes, so therefore she was also a dancer at one point. So therefore I think she's used to having lots of male attention because of them.
Yeah.
And therefore he is quite he's quite happy brushing it all off. Also her husband,
who's also super lovely.
lovely.
They're such a lovely couple, actually.
Yeah. Clearly has no confidence issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The fact that, you know, 99.9% of all men that he's ever going to go out with her are going to be drawn naturally to looking at her breasts.
And that doesn't faze him in the slightest, does it?
No.
Yeah.
And I think that,
which is great.
And I think that's probably fairly rare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we were talking about another friend of ours before we started recording, who's extremely attractive, and we were just saying how that can be a bit of a curse.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking of getting breast implants, then you have to realise that has possibly negative consequences.
It's going to attract
because of the positive change you've made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you have to kind of expect that. Okay, well, whereas men you may have been interested in my personality before, I'm now going to get a lot of more attention, potentially from people who are a lot more shallow.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you've almost it almost has an adverse effect on what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
If you want to achieve going out with someone who's a cerebral person who's intelligent and has a he's a doctor or a pilot or some sort of high flying job. I didn't mean to do that.
I don't know.
Then having breast implants might get you there easier, and you might end up realizing that those people can also be shallow as well.
Yeah, but if you're a strip dancer, for instance, perfect. You're actually using your body for work, so it makes sense to do it then because that's the attention you want, and that's how you're going to probably make more money because you've got bigger ass.
But then that comes down to, I think, probably slightly incorrect expectations of what men want.
Porn does that, doesn't it, as well?
I was just about to say that. In pornography, loads of the models have, fake breasts.
Yeah.
And actually, I just don't find it as attractive.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, like women being strippers. I'm not a stripper. I've definitely danced for a guy a few times in the bedroom and had a freaking great time doing it. Putting on a little outfit, having a giggle, pretending to be a stripper. Do you know what I mean? So it's like people who aren't strippers still can do that for their partner. Kind of thing. Yeah. Just loads of fun.
Yeah, I was watching something. It was about. I think it was on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that.
Okay.
And it was a documentary about boobs, and I was sat with a girl who I sleep with fairly regularly, and I put it on because she likes boobs also. And it immediately became apparent that it seems to have been commissioned by two surgeons, who have just gone, like, now we're going to show people breasts, but also advertise our clinic.
Okay.
Because there's lots of like, and we went to this clinic and we trust them and they're really good, and it was just like, this isn't what I wanted to watch.
Yeah. Okay.
And then one of the couples there was like, I'm getting breast implants to improve my self-confidence and blah, blah, blah. And then they asked the guy, he's like, what do you think of it? And he's like, well, it was kind of my suggestion. And I was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
like,
that is actually.
Why would a man suggest that to a woman?
That's.
And at that point I turned it off.
Right.
Because I was just like, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
It's a basically hour-long documentary that is a sales pitch for this clinic, and there's all these sort of disgusting people getting it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, perverts basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Some famous.
No, and but the girl I was with has unbelievably amazing body. But her breasts are quite small.
Okay.
Doesn't bother me in the slightest.
And does it bother her?
No.
Yeah, is she quite happy with her breast size?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So I think we talked about it once when she was said, had one of her friends got it done or whatever, and she was just like, I'm just not interested. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because you're perfect the way you are.
Exactly. It's just a fear of it going wrong as well, because you can get the silicones and get it burst as well if it's not done properly. People have gone for the cheaper option and it's gone wrong. Or it's one way it goes, got like a little hole in your armpit here, and you can like pump it. You can pump them up. Like a balloon.
I think someone told me that in school. I reckon that's probably
No.
I reckon that's a myth.
I don't know where I saw that or how long ago, but I think that's a real thing. I've got no facts to like back me up in the slightest.
I don't think that's real because you'd have to be pumping out with air, which isn't.
Years ago.
Unless you had some sort of syringe that you kind of attached to it and kind of put it in.
Yeah. Let's Google it.
Yeah. Can I have
these things?
Can I have pump up tits?
So yeah, not sure about the pump.
Not sure about
boob
the pump
enlargements.
No.
So yeah, I mean yeah. So I think, okay, so for anyone getting work done, I do think it comes from lack of confidence, mental health. There's an insecurity there, and getting work done is building their confidence, basically, making them feel, which makes me a little bit sad.
I do wonder if it's more common in other countries. So
definitely America for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely more common in America, I think.
Yeah.
Based on my Brazilian friend and a lot of Brazilian women I've met, I think it seems really common over there.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite normalised.
I don't know if it's just because it's cheaper or just more normalised.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Because we're known for having bad teeth, aren't we, the English?
Which is weird. Which is weird because we've got an NHS and the Americans don't.
Yeah.
I think I saw way more worse teeth over there than I could ever see over
really?
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, probably through films or
maybe.
Perhaps in the 70s that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
People just didn't care as much, did they? Whereas now we're forced Instagram generation of, I wonder if that's part of the problem as well.
What do you mean? Social media?
Yeah.
Definitely
Because,
plays part.
Yeah, people are taking 1,000 photos of themselves and then putting up one that is the best one of those 1,000.
Yeah, because there's that. So the fashion of looking sexy is having a tiny waist and then a really big ass.
Well, it is now. Never used to be.
We used to be like really skinny, or
so Kate Moss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I've seen these pictures on Facebook of women who are actually getting these belts and they're like tightening them to a point of like their waist is about that big. It's really scary and really unnatural. You can imagine what it's just doing to their stomachs. And it's just it's like a fashion.
But that was the case in the Victorian age, wasn't it? With the like corsets and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, all of that just seems a bit unnatural.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's difficult to say what is a sexy look, isn't it? I think that I
love a woman dressed up in man's clothes, wearing a suit in tie and things like that. I find that really sexy. Yeah, braces and
But then you
pockets.
get a lot of girls going out these days in like gym gear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it sort of because a lot of gym gear these days kind of accentuates certain features, like they've got the sort of the kind of like slightly darker arrows under the bum to make it look like you've got a higher bum. It just seems weird. And I just look at that and go,
do you go to the gym?
Just go to the gym and change the shape of your bum.
Yeah. It's all a fashion statement, isn't it?
Yeah. But then, in terms of is it attractive or not? I don't know. It's just sort of.
It's just different for each person, isn't it? As well.
It is completely different for each person.
Yeah.
And therefore,
if it makes them happy, then I'm absolutely like 100% go for it.
Yeah.
If it's going to make you happy, because it's even this, going through sex changes, things like that. That's such a big decision to make. You want to be doing it for the right reasons, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sex changes is a really, really difficult one for me because I have a real kind of close association with my endocrine system. I am aware of when my cortisol levels are high, when my my testosterone levels are high or low, or my oxytocin and vasopressin, like all of these hormones which make up how you feel at any one point in time, can be so easily fixed with just much better living practices. So getting sunlight early in the morning, getting plenty of exercise, sleeping well,
Diet.
Diet, not eating too much ultra processed food, and having good social connections with people that don't make you feel terrible. Like if you fix all those things, you will have a happy life. You will be a happier person or a happy person, and therefore, I would absolutely urge everyone to fix all those things first before then going, right, now I need surgery.
Yeah. But like I said before as well, we're quite lazy, aren't we? Well, a lot of humans can be. So they'd rather take the easy option.
I guess it's the
That's
same.
always going to happen there.
Yeah. And actually might do a whole separate episode on bodybuilders because it's the same with them. I can tell every single guy in the gym who's on gear and who isn't.
Yeah.
Because it's just really obvious to me.
They've just stupidly bulked out. It's like unnatural how they look as well.
Well, a lot of the times
steroids.
they don't even look that big.
Right. Yeah.
You can just kind of tell because
the way they're acting, kind of thing.
Well, no, it's mostly in things like shoulder development.
Right. Okay.
Like natural people,
like twitching.
Natural people just can't get gigantic shoulders. I would say that mine are particularly good, and I have fairly good genetics for growing shoulder muscle.
And you're a climber,
I'm also a climber.
Yeah.
Which means I'm sort of fairly wide up there anyway.
Yeah.
But then, even then. Yeah, the way I see it is I've been training for years and years and years and years and years. My shoulders aren't going to get any bigger.
Right. Okay.
I might be able to put a tiny amount of muscle kind of over the next 20 years, but they're never going to be gigantic. And if you look at drug-tested competitions, they're all the same. As soon as someone starts taking steroids, you can actually build a lot more muscle in the shoulders. And it's the first thing that people train because it's the one thing that makes them look jacked.
Which I think is really not attractive. I find that absolutely unattractive.
But there's
over bulked, it's like
But there's plenty of our friends that are on gear that you probably don't know.
No idea, not at all. And I couldn't think of anybody who I would think would possibly be on it. But that surprises me.
I can tell you if you like, but do it later. Won't be interesting to them.
Gossip about it later.
Yeah. But yes, so reaching your genetic high point naturally, I would say, is probably the better way of going. And then if you're still unhappy after that, that's when you would start doing, any kind of enhancing. But people don't really want to put in the effort to get there in the first place, and they're like, well, actually, if I had these giant breasts, then maybe I'll go to the gym because I feel confident.
Maybe I'll get a boyfriend, or maybe someone will like me.
Well, I'm thinking more that if I make this life choice, maybe that's going to make me do the other life choices as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I've got bigger breasts, then maybe I'll feel more comfortable in gym gear. Therefore, I'll go to the gym, and therefore the rest of me can then be brought up to to match my breasts.
Right. Yeah.
And I wonder if there's a lot of thinking about that. And some people just get surgery because they don't want to put the effort in.
And they just want to look good,
Yeah, and I guess if we're talking just augmentation generally, things like tummy tucks and stuff like that is quite interesting. I've got an ex who's just had some work done actually.
There's more females as well that get this done than males. I actually don't know that many males who've had any work done. This is definitely pointed more towards females. Which that's social pressure, that is.
Yeah, it is odd actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've loosely thought about doing stuff like that. It's like you know, you get cryotherapy these days, where
What's
they
that?
basically. So all of my weight is all carried in my love handles.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
I've got no real fat anywhere else. It's all right around here. And getting rid of that for me is really hard hormonally. So I have to be in a really quite strict calorie deficit to get rid of it. I can get rid of it,
Okay.
but it makes me feel terrible.
Yeah. Right.
So
okay.
I sort of just don't bother. But if you have the cryotherapy, effectively what it does is it freezes and therefore kills the fat cells around those areas, and then through aphagy or apoptosis, your body then just gets rid of those cells.
Right. Okay.
And you don't get more cells.
Yeah.
Because cells, you don't, the process of getting fat or thin is just how big the fat cells are. You don't get more of them or less of them.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So once you've got rid of those fat cells, you just won't have them again.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
They can't replicate. Therefore,
There's no. Yeah. They're not there.
They're just not there. And I've thought about that because theoretically that won't interrupt my hormone system, but it will also fix the problem of me having unsightly love handles. But also, I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I mean, it is taking something away, isn't it? So I don't know why. In my head, I was thinking, yeah, but it's not. You're not having an implant. It's like, but you are actually changing your body, I suppose. So it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Even though you're actually just taking something out. So yeah.
Yeah, it would be like.
Why I thought that.
Yeah, it would be like having a tummy tuck, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm interested though, because that is the biggest problem when we start getting into your 30s and 40s. Is your hormones, and then it just all sits there, and it's very difficult unless you want to really put in the work to get rid of it.
Yeah, and it
I'm
is.
interested now. Should we do
This
it?
place in Parkstone does it.
Let's get it. How much is it?
I get the feeling it's probably a couple of grand.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing it. I don't care that much.
Yeah. But yeah, and then these days you can get things like abdominal etching.
Okay, what's
where
that?
where they only remove the fat that's between your abdominals.
Right. Okay.
So it makes your abs stick out.
Stick out. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at people like the Liver King, looks like he's probably had it done. I
Right,
mean, he's
okay.
super shredded anyway, but
Yeah,
his abs just don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Like their own islands.
Yeah. Oh, well, people can get ab implants. Have you seen those? They're
Oh, no.
hilarious.
Okay. So there's men who do get this work done as well.
It looks bad.
Does it
looks
really?
Very bad.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's possible to do it and make it look natural.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was, I think there was a
I'm sure
Louis.
someone will figure it out.
There was a Louis Theroux documentary on it,
Right, okay.
on enhancement at one point,
Yeah.
and there was this guy who'd had like bicep implants and pec implants, and it looked crazy.
Yeah.
He just looked like a total mental case.
I like the ones where they have like horns put in. You know?
Yeah, I've had friends who have that.
Yeah, I actually quite like that. That looks quite cool. It's very unique looking, you know?
Yeah, my friend Yoshi used to have that.
Yeah.
It's
an interesting look. I like it.
Actually, I used to be a body piercer for people in the listening.
Piercing industry.
Yeah, so met a lot of people like that.
Yeah,
A
I
lot
bet.
of friends
Yeah,
like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like really extreme modification.
Cutting the tongue in half. to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that good effect.
Yeah.
But that'd be loads of fun. Maybe somebody had that.
I can put you in touch with a
Very
couple.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's it, I guess. Piercings, anything like that. Tongue splitting and
It's a form of expression, isn't it? I suppose, in that sense. That's what it is.
yeah, I guess.
So if you can see that, because with piercings and tattooing, I can see that as a creative thing.
I would say
whereas-
that's more creative because
Yeah,
you're not
than
trying
having-
to look like the last, Kim Kardashian type person, whoever
Yeah.
is popular these days.
Yeah, whoever's on social media saying what us women should be looking like,
Yeah.
you know?
And it is weird how it does go through phases.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because Angelina Jolie's just brought out a new Tomb Raider film,
Right.
you can see how dated I am now.
Yeah.
You know, now everyone wants large breasts,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And big lips.
yeah, but then the next time, the next film star, trying to think of who was the girl that did Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, what's her name?
Uma
Uma Thurman. I'm
Yeah.
my
You know,
van
and
off her.
and people might
Love
want to
her.
look more like her,
Yeah.
and therefore have a smaller breasts, and
Yeah.
then people will want to look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that sort of stuff, the fact that people want to look like the
An
person
icon.
who's famous right now
Yeah.
makes me think that that's
You're not finding
Probably
your own
not.
identity.
yeah.
You know?
Okay, so spectrum adjustable implants are a
It's
real
a
thing.
thing. It's a thing.
Yeah,
So you can pump your boobs up.
for 6 months afterwards. so
Yeah. And then they
make
close
adjustments.
the hole up, right?
Yeah.
In your armpit.
But
Not
yeah,
bad. It's a real thing.
it's a real thing. I don't know whether you can get it done here.
It's obviously not common, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess to wrap it up, then I guess I would encourage people to try and reach their genetic potential naturally first,
Totally.
in order to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
And if such time you get to that point and you go, no, I still feel like I want bigger breasts, then go for it.
Mm-hmm. It's always that makes you happy, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's doing it for the right reasons, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
And not doing it because someone's told you that you've got small tits or, you know,
Yeah.
you're not pretty enough or, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's-
Well, and
from
that's the thing.
feminist
It's
point of
from a male perspective, I don't think that it makes that much of a difference. And if it does make that much of a difference to your partner, you should probably find a different partner
Yeah.
and feel more confident in yourself.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Not that I could think of. No. Just all different sizes of breasts are wonderful.
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah. And I guess I didn't make that point very
You
well.
know?
Is actually, all breasts are amazing.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Exactly.
matter what size they are.
No. Yep. Yep.
So you have great tits.
Yeah. Own your tits.
Own your tits.
Yeah.
See you in the next one.
Bye.